Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m. nourishing our. It's the first one of 2026, of course. And you're welcome.
Hi. Good. Sorry, Vanessa, I can't hear you. Hi, Vanessa. Hi. No. I think I might hear you now, Vanessa. Do you hear me now?
Can you hear me now, Daisy?
Yes.
Can you
I
hear
can.
me?
Yes, I can hear
Yes,
you
you
now.
can. All
Yes.
right. Okay. 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 So let me just double check here. I know we're live. Let me see. Can you hear? You can, right?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me now, Daisy? All right. There was a mini glitch that happens. But anyhow, Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to Cardiac Radio. Thank you, Daisy, for joining us at Cardiac Radio. Thank you.
Everyone, thanks for having me, Vanessa.
You know, Daisy, there is this beautiful message that we're prepared to read for those who are watching us. Hello, Rita. Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Daisy. Hello, Galan. Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Anseloni. Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Galan. Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Daisy. Hello, Rita. Hello, Galan. Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Daisy. 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 Hello, Galan. Hello, Vanessa. Hel Rita de Cássia. Hello, Patty Soares. Hello, Ana. Friends, if I'm not seeing you, you can keep writing and I will see you here. By the spirit author Casimiro Cunha. If you want to know more about the spirit author, you can go to Kardec Radio's Facebook page or YouTube studio or the channel. And in there, you are going to find the beauty of this book that he wrote, Drops of Light,
Yeah.
and several poems that were translated and shared in study sessions at Kardec Radio. Today, it's about his poem titled New Year's Letter. In Portuguese, this book was written in Cartas do Evangelho, that book. It was published by Lacke, and it's not in English yet, but this poem. We're going to read it for you and talk about it. I'm going to let Daisy read it and go through this poem while I take care of Virginia because I hear she's crying a little bit. So I'll be right with you as Daisy takes care of it for us. Okay, Daisy?
Sounds good. So, friends, we're reading this beautiful message from Casimiro Cunha through Chico Xavier. It's titled New Year's Letter. It's short, but as you will see, we'll comment afterwards. It has a lot of information and a beautiful message by Casimiro Cunha. So let's read it. New Year's Letter. Between a year that goes and a new one that begins, there's always a new hope, promises of a new day. If the year that passed was of dark bitterness, our Father was never low on the bridge of joy's light. Being the workshop of the world, the most perfect apprentice, for only in work will your ear be happy. Those who truly make an effort know how to practice the good, know their own duties without criticizing anyone. New Year, ask that the heavens protect your work, provide you with faith, the most sublime quote. Good New Year, God bless you in the effort that leads you from the saddened shadows of the earth to the blessings of Jesus. So, dear friends, as we reflect on this beautiful message by Casimiro Cunha, I want to point out, and Vanessa and we want to point it out a few of the highlights so that together we can break down this beautiful message. And for me, as I read this message, the first big highlight that he brings to us is that it is a message of hope. He opens in the very first sentence telling us that between a year that goes, a new one begins, and there is always a new hope. So, as we start this beautiful year, right? Today is January 1st, 2020. He's giving us hope that it's a new year that begins, and that's a promise for a new day. And as we start the year, I think that as we reflect upon, this new era, this new decade that it's starting, his message, of course, applies for the new year, but I think it applies for our everyday because he says promise of a new day. So as we reflect upon our day, we can renew ourselves each day. Yes, January 1st marks a new transition in our year, right? But if you really reflect on it, you can really take each day as a new beginning, as the night ends and the sun rises. We can see it has really a new beginning each day. So we can take this message not only on January 1st, but hopefully reflect on it throughout the year.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Daisy. The very first stanza, right? As John De Rosa was telling us, he tells us about this hope. And we just studied hope here at Cardiac Radio in
Mm,
the Open Light. And it's beautiful when Emmanuel talks about hope as this divine stimulus that points to the future.
mhm,
How often, Daisy, we are here living the first day of the year, and then someday something happens and we are distraught and discouraged,
mm,
and we forget that we are here on earth for growth. And
mhm,
growth means effort, growth means tests,
mm,
growth means challenges, and that's the way of life. So
mhm,
if we expect that this new day, as he says, the promise of the new day is going to be to push us to be stronger, wiser, brighter,
mm,
more loving, how are we going to get there?
mhm,
By really being assessed in so many ways. So
mhm,
it's part of life. We can't expect that the new year is going to bring us what we haven't cultivated yet.
mhm,
Everything is a reaction of previous actions, and we're planting today for tomorrow. So we can't expect in a very naive way that we're going to be on earth and live a fairy tale. And we're saying this because sometimes the New Year's Eve is almost like a fairy tale for many people. Not
mhm,
for all, because majority of people on earth, they don't have even the means to publish posts and tell us how they're doing. The posts
That's
that
true.
we see are of minority of people who are above the average, because those who are really suffering, they don't publish their sufferings, not in the ostensible way we're seeing. But we
Mhm,
can't be illuded and believe that the world is what we're seeing there.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
we know that right now there are people in the hospitals, in
yeah,
prisons, there are people in refugee
that's true.
camps, and we have at least half of the population of the earth who doesn't have a decent bathroom, doesn't
Mm,
have, so many things that we do. People
yeah,
who don't go to school. There's so many things happening on earth. When we begin a new year, we needed to revisit that this world we're living in is still convulsing in tears and pains.
mhm,
So, what is
mhm,
expected of us who are living
mhm,
above the average in terms of survival?
mhm. Yeah,
All of us here, the ones who are connected, we can say we're above the survival line.
mhm,
We're living because we can sit here, talk about it, read a book.
mhm,
But if you see, many people cannot even do it, like read a book, because their lives is so intense, going from one job to another job to third jobs. Like some people have three, four jobs. They
mhm.
have to take care of their families. And there are so many scenarios we can point out.
Yeah,
And what is expected of us,
mhm,
right? It's the hope that things will be aligned if we collaborate. And I think that's why
mhm.
the main focus of the message will lead us to work. But before we get there,
Yeah,
in the second stanza, he talks about, while we passed some days of bitterness,
mhm.
but God is always bringing us new joy,
Joy.
pointing to new directions. And sometimes we read this message thinking of ourselves as the center who is receiving things. And I think Spiritism is asking us, like, read this message as if you are somebody who is going to be instrumental in bringing things for others,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
It's interesting what you're saying, Vanessa, because, and as we were talking yesterday, right at the SSVA, we live in a world where social media, right, so present, and it's so blessed because give us the opportunity to be here tonight. But as you were mentioning, it it shows the minority, but for some reason, a minority has a louder voice in a way. So, as you're saying, as we know across our planet, right, there's statistics that show us, so many, as you're pointing out to us, that are really suffering and lack sometimes the very basic need. And, but those who are in a better position in, sometimes do, have beautiful posts. And I think now people are really starting to realize that even those who do are very active on social media that way are, it's kind of like a mask, right? They want to show the world they have the perfect life. So I think, as we're saying, not to be illusion of, this perfect world. And in the second paragraph, Casemiro point out to us, and he acknowledges that, the year that passed was a dark bitterness. So all of us, I think, whenever we are hearing, this program tonight, you're going through, or you went through something in your life. So he acknowledges that, but he reminds us that God is present in our lives and he brings us joy. um, but I think we really need to be able to acknowledge and see it, um, because sometimes we're the little child that wants, and we don't appreciate sometimes the very blessings of God in our lives, and sometimes just having a roof on top of our heads, or
Wow.
have a meal with our family. It might seem so trivial, but we need to put ourselves on that place, right? So that we are taking care of our ego, because it's so easy to be that child of, I want this, or I want that, or my life. But why don't we sit and acknowledge and be grateful, especially being the first of the year, has Casimiro is pointing out to us so many things to be blessed in our lives. Yes, that is bitterness, as he's saying, but there are also so much blessings. So
Mhm.
thoughts on the blessings, right? Um, and as we continue moving forward, and he's going to give us more of, what we should do next. But I think that's the very first
It-
step,
it-
being grateful.
yeah, it's interesting because when you're saying this, halfway through this poem, Casimiro Cunha shifts our self-centeredness and empowers us by being, he gives us, it's like a command. He says, be in the workshop of the world the most perfect apprentice, for only in work will your ear be happy. So interesting, because usually we sit like a child and we say, what is Santa gonna bring me? And then we adults begin the new year, it's our Santa moment when we're like, oh, when we start dreaming. It's okay. We can dream all we want and we have to dream. Andre Luis talks about the importance of visualizing and dreaming in the book No Solar. But the point is, we dream and we work, we earn it. To earn it, we are given the tools to work on it. So he says, be in the workshop of the world, meaning this world is for work. And he says, the most perfect apprentice. It's funny, the word apprentice. Somebody on earth spoiled this beautiful word so much. I remember Sueli Calda Schubert saying, sometimes the works of darkness, they they change the meanings of critical words,
Mm-hmm.
so we deviate humanity from actually feeling the very meaning of it all, but we can't trash it away. Apprenticeship is so important, like being a disciple, being an apprentice. We're learning, and we need to be in the position of, let me learn the new. But how are we going to learn the new? Working. And Daisy, working in spiritus means,
Yeah, any useful occupation, right? That's in, if you go and to, the Spirit's book, and there's the 10 natural laws, and work is a law. And you'll be surprised, right, Vanessa, if you go, and we recommend everyone to go and read about the natural laws. But the law of work, Kardec asked the spirits, and they disclosed to us that is any useful activity. So it's not only the quote unquote work that we say, 9 to 5, but it's any useful activity that you're doing, which I think personally is revolutionary, because right, we used to think, right, about a mother, who stays home, and it's, so much work, which we know, unfortunately, in our society nowadays, not giving the enough credit has issued. But that is a work. Those who take care of the house. If you're serving others, like anything, it's a useful activity. That's work. So. Um, as
yes,
Kardec brings to us in
yes.
spirits.
Let me say hi here to Willie Moeller. Thank you so much, Willie, for being here with us. We're sharing this message with you, and we're happy to share it. Hello, Melissa. Happy New Year. Rafael Medeiros, how are you? Elder Lima, Rosalind, Rosa, what a joy to have you here, Rosalind. Right. So Souza is here as well. So it's a joy to have you all here joining us as we break down this message that is so empowering. So I think the number one thing as we go halfway through this poem is to realize that we cannot be passive, that we
Mm-hmm.
need to be active in this new
Mm-hmm.
year. And though people say the new decade begins, the 2020 is a new beginning anyhow. And in the pipeline of the good works of the good spirits who take care of our planet, there are beautiful things to be implemented, projects to be implemented on Earth. So we are progressing. So our hope is number one. Two, the joy. No matter what happened, everything shall pass. No wonder today I was talking to a family member, and we were talking about how lumbar pain can be correlated to difficulties in forgiving. Even science has published papers in that direction already. And we say, well, we have to forgive always. And it's such a human theme that Jesus, knowing about the human mind, said we need to forgive 77 times 7, meaning always, continuously, and we can't give up on it because each and every day we are going to be challenged in our capacity of forgiving and forgetting and renewing our joy. And we can't lose hope on them, on us, in the relationships in general, right? Hello, Hipólito, how are you? And now we know, halfway through this poem, in this letter to New Year, of the New Year, Casimiro Cunha says, we will be happy in this year if we work, if we're useful. But let's think about, as Daisy was saying, let us think about the scenarios because we need to feel the scripture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, to be useful, alone. Some people, when they are alone, they quickly go and trash their time. Like they watch porn, they eat poorly, they they simply do nothing, become useless. I mean, one thing is to say, I'm gonna relax and rest. Time it. Some people say, but Vanessa, what do I do? Time it. Mentor Joseph says, if you have free time, time your free time. How much you have to manage your time. Say, give yourself, I'm gonna take 1 hour to lay down and watch TV. But then, what are you gonna watch? Is it useful or not? I'm gonna watch something like um, romantic movie. Okay, that's okay as long as it doesn't make you melancholic. It can be like boosting your joy and hope. Great. But those who are killing action movies, I mean, really, it doesn't add. Our brains, they are activating the same areas that are being activated in the people that were performing those characters. So it's not healthy. So if we manage our time, we say, I'm going to do a visualization. How long? 30 minutes? I'm going to sit here and talk to a friend. How long? I need to time it to be wise in the use of my time and to ask the quantity in terms of time and quality. And in that way, we can be very practical in how we turn everything into a useful moment. Even a shower. Sometimes we're taking a shower, right, Daisy?
Yeah.
We're taking a shower. And I think I talk to people and everybody recognizes when I say, how are you when you take a shower? It's a funny question, but it's true. And then they start thinking about problems,
Yeah.
the problems, the difficulties, the feelings. But that's defeating the purpose. You're cleaning your thoughts and feelings with your body. So we need to make an effort when we are soaping ourselves to talk to the body, be mindful, and to also put beautiful things in our minds, be prayerful, turning this shower moment a useful moment too.
Yeah.
If we do that every day, we'll have 365 days, moments in 365 days that will be beneficial to the whole year.
Yeah.
Cooking, eating. How are we eating? It's not what we eat anymore, but how we eat, right?
Vanessa, it's so interesting you're mentioning that because by your recommendation, I was just reading, and I apologize for our friends who, don't speak Portuguese, but I was reading some of Casemiro Cunha's poems in this book. It's called in Portuguese, Cartilhas da Natureza.
Yeah,
In English, I think would be like nature's notebook or textbook,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But he talks about each, like you're saying, about the importance of a meal, right? How we're nourishing our bodies, and about the shower. And he makes this beautiful connotation that I never thought about it. And I'm not doing justice for, I'm putting in my own words, but he says, after such a long day, you get home like so heavy, right? And I think we can all relate it to it, right? You work, or you do your daily activities, and you get home at the end of the day, and you feel so heavy, and physically, right? He even talks about sweat, but then he says to use the pure water has a cleansing of the body, right? So, a, like you said, if we really put the thought on it to really clean our body, but then he says we should also clean our hearts with prayer. So if you can
wow.
combine both at the same time, wow, that would be, a truly miracle. Maybe you don't have a spirit center where you can go to for the passes, right? But you can use the shower as a cleaning moment for not only the physical body, but for your spirit, for spiritual body, and visualizing it. And you'll be surprised how much energy you have after, something so simple of a shower. But it's truly beautiful.
What a beautiful reminder, Daisy, of that book by Casimiro Cunha, Cartilha da
Yeah.
Natureza. Not yet in English, but really a masterpiece. And then in the next ones, as we know in this New Year's letter, he says, those who truly make an effort know how to practice the good. So again,
Mm-hmm.
he talks about effort. And
Mm-hmm.
effort requires goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't use our will, we cannot make an effort. Effort requires will,
Mm-hmm.
right? And to know our duties without criticizing others, meaning minding our own business.
Wow.
So we focus on what we have to do. And some people ask, what do I need to do? Well, it depends. Do you have a family? Yes. I'm married. I have children. Okay, so your duties there are already in the paper. Okay. Then do you have a job? Okay, more duties.
Mm-hmm.
And then where do you live? In which country? And then in
Mm-hmm.
this book named Spiritist Conduct, which is in the hands of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation to publish, André Luiz talks about our conduct before the country where we live in. We owe duties to this country.
Mm-hmm.
And often we're citizens who take for granted where we live and where we were born,
Mm-hmm.
thinking just like children, we're entitled to any and everything. And that's not how we are. We have duties. And if others do or don't fulfill them, it's their problem, not mine. So I'm going to ask a question here. So some people, as we enter the new year, we're reminded there is taxes to be done, right? Nobody likes to talk about it. Like, no, new year, first year, don't talk about taxes. But taxes is a way for us to
Mm-hmm.
recognize our share in the
Yeah.
whole of our society. And it's interesting because at Jesus' time, he was asked whether he needed to pay taxes or not. And he said, well, give Caesar what is Caesar's and God what is God. So the question we want to ask all of us here, we never thought that Jesus paid taxes, but do you think he paid taxes or not? Of course he did.
I think so. Yeah.
We can conclude easily, extrapolating from his answer, that yes, he did pay
Mm-hmm.
taxes. He
Mm-hmm.
worked, number one, and he paid taxes. And that's the governor of the planet. So he paid taxes in a planet that he made.
Wow.
It's unbelievable, unbelievable. But he is modeling for us the pathway. We needed to let go of this childish mentality in which we feel we are entitled to receiving all the time. He says,
Mm-hmm.
be the most perfect apprentice and work to make it a happy year. And then as we're marching towards the prayer, I think it's perfect fit as we are uniting this program as prayer for the USA and the year 2020 so critical for the United States of America. So
Mm-hmm.
important because of the election, so many things that are happening. And he
Yeah.
says here, New Year, ask that the heavens protect your work, provide you with faith, the most sublime quote. I think here
Mm-hmm.
he's saying, you are not alone, and count on the help that was assigned by God so you fulfill what you need to fulfill, your tasks, be useful, your
Mm-hmm.
work. So we're not alone, friends. It's important for us as a nation in the United States as well to know that there is a higher command that but we need to ask. Jesus said, ask and it will be given. So don't refrain from asking. Let us ask, oh dear Lord, please bless the work of the United States of America in this planet. Protect it, and let us have faith as a protection of a coat of protection in this country. So in this year, we may go back to track.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Right, Daisy?
Yeah, I, as you're talking about this, Vanessa, is so interesting because we live in the United States where I think a lot of people, their goal, right? If you ask them what is, and if you talk to people, a lot of say, oh, I can wait until I retire, right? I know we talked a lot about that here, but it is interesting because Casemiro brings a new highlight to protect your work. And you're saying, that retirement's blessed too, but not this retirement thinking that you'll be sitting on a beach and just, relaxing. If you're thinking about work has the definition in Spiritans, has any useful activity to protect it, I think it's such a beautiful way to put it that whatever you're doing, ask that that would be protected. And why, as we're talking about the US, why not work towards your country, right? You can, you doesn't need to do much, but sometimes helping your neighborhood, right? Helping your community, or, acknowledging we live in Washington, D.C., and we see so many people on the streets, right? Doing something that is not only for you, but you help your country. Because it's so easy, I think, for us to sit in our homes and criticize the government and criticize, this and that in our country. But what are we doing, right, to make sure that we are doing our part? Because it's easy to sit there and criticize, but if we're talking about work and talking about being, whenever you are across your planet, what work you, I think, you're also doing for your community and to help your country. And if you're in the United States, there's so much to be done. And it, as Casimiro say, work that provides us with faith, and that is the most sublime quote, right? Um, I think that it's not only the work for ourselves, but also what we're doing for others and for our community too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, friends, dear friends, as we are here being enlightened by this beautiful drop of light, another drop of light by Casimiro Cunha, he is reminding us in this new year, let's be useful. You are important. Keep that in mind, friend. You are important. God counts on you. You are God's co-creator. So
Mhm.
we cannot any longer wait another minute
Mhm.
doubting that we have a task to fulfill. So let us be joyful and let's begin it with ourselves. Because when we take care of ourselves and we love ourselves, it's easy to spread it out. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, say, I'm a child of God. Repeat it when you go to sleep, when you're taking a shower. See how sacred your physical body is. Take
Mhm.
good care of it, not in the sense of the aesthetics for the world, but for your inner. Saying, did I take care of my dog? Yes. Did I take care of my body? Yes.
Mhm.
And I then will be able to spread it out, to be able to respect people, to understand them better. And as I give myself a second chance, I'll give other people a second chance. And I will also fulfill what I need to fulfill. We need to focus because time really flies. As we're talking about this, we're ready to pray and inviting all of you to pray with us, with Deise and I. Pray for the world, pray for our new year, and pray for the United States of America. It's the brain of the world, and it needs a lot of care, a lot of love. The world owes a great deal to the United States of America, and here we are to pray for it. Shall we, Deise?
Yes,
Yes?
yes,
Okay. So I'm going to begin it and I'll pass the word for you so you continue the prayer, okay, Deise?
sounds
So
great.
friends, join us. Let us visualize our Master Jesus, who's our governor, with his loving team. From his heart, rays of healing light enveloping all of us. The whole planet. Let us visualize that this light of love and hope brings renewed joy to the people who are suffering the most, including the animals, plants. Let us visualize that our homes are being enveloped in this light, our loved ones, everyone in our network. A big loving heart of light enveloping us in protection. And we express our gratitude. Master Jesus, we're so thankful for Spiritism renews our lives, renews our hope. We thank you for the opportunity we are receiving to rebalance ourselves, to redress choices of the past, and to make healthier choices today. Thank you for teaching us daily new opportunities of co-creating with God. And especially, we pray for the United States of America. May this year of 2020 be a year in which we keep believing in the best in us, in the assigned mission given to this nation to embrace the world, coordinating it in friendship, freedom, and freedom of all sorts, especially our spiritual freedom. And we now pass the word to our Deise as we continue praying together.
Dear Master Jesus, we feel on this January 1st of 2020 an opportunity to truly renew ourselves as we start a new decade on this blessed planet created by you. On this beautiful evening, we are reminded that we have a duty to fulfill, that we reincarnated for a purpose, and that you are always by our side, holding our hands and guiding our lives. We kindly ask you on this evening that we can be renewed also in our faith to you, that in this year that enter we can feel even closer to you, Master, following your footsteps and really awakening to our duty on this planet. We also ask especially for this blessed country the United States of America. Each country has their responsibility to fulfill. And you disclose to us as the brain of our planet, the United States has a fundamental mission to guide our planet. So we ask that this beautiful country can be guided to the good, to do and fulfill what they have to do in peace, in love and kindness. And in such a decisive year for this blessed country, we pray for the decision makers, for those who are involved in making key decisions to our country, that they can also receive the blessings of this evening. Feeling renewed in hope and our hearts filled with joy, we ask, dear Master, that we have the courage to continue moving forward and never giving up in our lives. With much gratitude in our hearts, we ask your permission to close this prayerful moment of tonight. And so be it.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Robson Santos, Binhão. So, friends, we are going to continue. This is the first prayer for the USA as we are entering the new year. Let us pray for one another. Kardec Radio is here for you. If you have any question, feel free to write to us at kardecradio@gmail.com. And we await the next opportunity to be with you and praying together. Many beautiful things are happening as we speak. Kardec
Mhm.
Radio doesn't stop. We're here to nourish our souls together. Thank you, Daisy, once again for your
Thank you,
time.
Vanessa.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone. I hope you have a blessed year. Whenever you are, feel a big hug from all of us to you. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you so much. And until next time, friends, here at Kardec Radio, always nourishing our souls. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.